Hey YouTubers, got to jump in here and do a little correction in this video. I realized I had my lines drawn different on my on my declination grid. So I'm going to jump in here real quick. What is declination that we talked about? If you see on my little view here on my Picasso map that I drew of the United States. So I have from Oklahoma, you have three different ones. You have true north, designated by a star. This is what you'll see on your declination inside your topo maps and some other maps, not the Rand McNally, unfortunately. But you have true north, which is the North Pole. Then you have grid GN, which stands for grid north, and that's the way your lines run on your maps because of along the longitudes. And from true north, that's only usually about 1 degree difference. And then you have magnetic north, which is shown by a little barb-tipped arrow. That's my rendition of a barb-tipped arrow there. MN, which stands for magnetic north. Now, right now, magnetic north's a moving target. That's just the best way to put it. It moved 50 miles last year. Right now, it is located in Ellesmere Island, Canada. So it moves, but that is what your compass points to. So whenever you look at declination inside maps, we'll take Oklahoma, for example. Oklahoma, if you look inside a map of a topo map, says Oklahoma 5 degrees west. In the Tulsa area, you go all the way out to the Panhandle, it says 8 degrees west. So that's how much it varies over the distance. Now, is this going to be a problem for most of the people who are looking at this? No, not unless you are heading up all the way to North Dakota or something like that. But over short distances, this is not going to make a difference, but I want to make sure that you know what declination is. So declination is the horizontal degree difference between grid north and magnetic north. So that's the degrees. That means it's 5 degrees west. If I'm looking at my map, my map lines up with grid north. But Oklahoma is 5 degrees to the west of my grid north. So whenever we get into the maps, I'll show you how that's basically it. Move that over so your map lines up with grid north. And again, it's not going to make that much difference whenever you're going over a long distance. So declination is the degrees difference between your grid north and your magnetic north. So that's what we're going to jump in here and just give that correction and back to the video. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move over to this side of the map. So that's looks like it sure ain't Rembrandt. That looks like more of my Picasso type drawing of the United States. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is maps. And we're not talking about your Google Maps. This is what happens if, the grid goes down, or electricity, or your phones go out, and you don't have Google Maps. You may be in a world of hurt if you do not know how to read a regular map, okay? So 3 different types of maps. Actually, not 3, there's 2, but I'm gonna go over. This is the most common. This is what you see at Walmart everywhere. Rand McNally, okay? So highly, highly recommend you get a Rand McNally atlas and you put in every single one of your vehicles, okay? What if you break down? You want to pull this out. Now, in lieu of Rand McNally, this is great whenever you're traveling and you just want to practice your directions and maps. You go into here. Let's go over to Oklahoma, all right? I'm going to hit on this very, very briefly because it's all explained up in here. But you have a legend up here that tells you how to figure out your distances. The red is between the red marks, and the blacks are the numbers in between the towns. And then whenever you do exits on this, you just take one exit, subtract it from the other exit. That tells you how many miles is in between exits. So it's all explained on the legends on the Rand McNally. Whenever you look at this, let's see where it is. You will see the arrow indicating which way is north on all these maps, okay? So this is north, going up. It covers 2 pages. Don't get lost in the crease. That happens a lot of times. But whenever you look at a map up here, it tells you how the distance between cities. But if you've never seen one of these, well, shame on you. You should be teaching this to your kids. And you should have, if you're my age group, you grew up using these all the time. And I still use them all the time. I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia. But this will give you a bigger picture and view of what's going on and where you're going and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so that's all I'm going to show you on this map. A Rand McNally, get your Rand McNally Atlas. All right, the other thing that I teach in a lot of my survival courses and my go bag, to go bag. If you go back to my go bag video, you will see, I told you to go and get a state map of whatever map you're in, and it will show the same thing as that Rand McNally map does, but it folds out, okay? It all folds out. Whereas if you were broke down and you have your go bag, that's it. That's your whole state map of where you're at. It fits inside your go bag, which is a lot better than if you were wanting to take across country trying to carry this big old thing. This just stays in your vehicle for when you are driving. This is a necessity for your go bag, so you know where you're going, how to get there, and it's a map. So, well, those are two things, the exact same type of map, and now we're going to get into the second one, which is a topographical map, okay? Now, this company, Delorme, okay, Delorme is the name of the company, is that, man, everybody needs to have a topographical map of where they're at, okay? Whatever state. Each state makes this company makes one for each state. This is for Oklahoma. Now, what this does is, just real quick, it is broke off into squares, and you can see it's at a 1 to 50,000 ratio. We'll get into that later of whenever we have to use a compass to find out where we're at, shooting a bearing and the azimuth. If we're lost, or how we get into triangulation to find out where we're at, but along those lines, okay? So, topographical map, that company, check into it. They're all on Amazon, and you want to get into that. So that's going to end our brief little compass map class, and we'll pick that up in the next one. Thank you. God bless. Hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks.